First of all, my name is Micaela Digman, and in behalf of our group, I would like to greet our dearest instructor, Ms. Cristina F. Sanchez, our dear classmates, fellow researchers, ladies and gentlemen. A pleasant day to all. And now, we are going to introduce to you our concept regarding fostering resiliency in children, protective factors in family, school, and community.
Now let's go to the table of contents. First is introduction. Second is need for this study. Third is background. Fourth is objectives. Fifth is research questions. Sixth is methodology, followed by research timeline, and last is links and references.
According to Garmezi and Rotter during 1983 and Mason during 1997, turning the situation around by translating negative risk factors into positive action strategies, which are in essence protective factors, resilience, a concept used by psychologists to characterize children who have encountered negative or stressful life situations, has emerged from studies of children at risk. After a brief overview of the protective factor research phenomenon, this paper will discuss the protective factors that research has identified as contributing to the development of resiliency in children and the implications of this for building effective prevention programs.
Now let's go to the needs of this study. So this study is about fostering resilience in children, protective factors in family, school, and community. It aims to know what strategies are needed to build protective factors that develop resiliency in children, to know how important parents, school, and community participation are encouraging the youth, and to know the factors that are preventing the youth from achieving resiliency. This will help the study determine the different factors in child development.
Background of the study. What does this study talks about? Let's see. First, we have the protective factors that surrounds the child and how does these factors affect the child to acquire and enhance their resiliency skills. Second is resiliency. Resiliency allows the children to recover any challenges and get back to living their life more quickly. So it makes them more adaptive and be able to move forward even with the existence of risks. Next are the methods and processes by which children overcome adversity, which have been the subject of later studies about resilience. And lastly, we have protective factors, which are the characteristics with decrease of vulnerability to health risks, while resiliency is the ability of an individual to remain healthy even in the presence of stress and risks.
These are the specific objectives the research seeks to answer. The research paper aims to achieve its objective of fostering resiliency in children through protective factors in family, school, and community by focusing the specific objectives. First, to identify the importance of parents, schools, and communities in participation in encouraging children. Second, to identify the factors preventing the children from achieving resiliency. Third, to determine the strategies needed to build protective factors that develop resiliency in children.
These are the research questions. Number 1. What is the importance of parents, schools, and the community's participation in encouraging the children? Number 2. What are the factors preventing children from achieving resiliency? Number 3. What are the strategies needed to build protective factors that develop resiliency in children?
Methodology. This study uses a descriptive research design. This study will sample at least 20 respondents in the local-based community. The research study will focus on fostering resiliency in children, protective factors in family, school, and community. There are three objectives that researchers focus to identify the different factors in achieving resiliency and will help the study to determine the different factors in child development. The researcher used a qualitative approach for this study because it needs to be expressed through words to express the results and to give us information about fostering resiliency in children. This will give the researchers information regarding the protective factors surrounding the child and how they can affect the child in acquiring and enhancing resiliency skills.
Research timeline. In this part, I will show you the allotted time for conducting our study. The following times are listed as lengths of activity for each portion of the research project. The study was anticipated to be finished within 8 weeks. So here, we can see the lists of research section and its duration. First is the research title that had a duration of 1 week. Next is the introduction, which had the duration of 3 days. And we have the needs for the study, which also had a duration of 3 days. We have the background that had a duration of 5 days. Next is the objectives that had a duration of 3 days together with research questions and hypotheses, which also had the duration of 3 days. We have research methodology that had a duration of 3 weeks. We have data analysis, interpretations, and discussions with a duration of 2 weeks, and we have summary, conclusion, and recommendations also having the duration of 2 weeks. And lastly, we have the reviewing work for submission with a duration of 1 week. So eventually, the study is assumed to be finished in 8 weeks' time.
Thank you so much for listening. My name is Micaela Digman and this is our concept paper.